Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, great and wonderful people of Biafra, lovers of freedom all over the world. All right, welcome to the program. Wherever you are watching from, you are welcome to the program. Welcome. Um, while you are joining us, share the video as well. Invite others to join. While you are joining, share the video. Invite others to join. All right, welcome to the program. Wherever you are watching from. All right, we are coming out clear. Okay, let us proceed with the business of the day. Everything is fine. The voice is coming out clearly, I believe. So wherever you are watching from, share the video, invite others to join. We are here to actually, analyze many things that is actually, in fact, critical things that is actually happening. We are here to analyze these critical things that are happening that is, many people undermine the time we are at right now. Many people undermine it. People believe, it is business as usual, but it is not business as usual. It is never business as usual. I want you to understand that what time we have at our hand right now, it is a very, very, crucial time that we need to achieve our aim, or we lose it forever. So that's why in this critical moment, in this critical time that you are right now, don't undermine it. Don't say that the time is just a normal time. Don't say the weather is just a normal weather. Don't say that rain you are seeing is a natural disaster. It just comes once in a while. Don't say there is nothing that is normal anymore. Everything has actually, fallen apart. That is the reason why we must continue to be resolute in our quest for freedom, in our quest for decolonization, in our quest for mind emancipation and the total liberation of African people. Is it achievable? Of course it is achievable. But is it difficult? Very, very difficult. Because the problem that we have is something called poverty institution. Poverty institution. And I want you to understand what poverty can cause in a society. I want to share with you what poverty can cause in a society. I want to tell you what poverty can cause in a nation. I want to tell you what poverty can cause worldwide. Worldwide, I want to tell you what poverty can, lead to. That's exactly part of the, things you are going to pick up this evening. Morning, afternoon, depending on where you are watching us from. Now, a poverty is an institution that is created for a particular people. And these particular people, that this poverty is created for, they are always never at peace with each other. They are always never at peace with each other, because poverty brings about what you call, what do you call this, superstition. Poverty brings superstition so much. That is the reason why there is a wise saying in my language that says, "Akunetibu ilo." Akunetibu ilo. Once that akunetibu ilo comes in, you will no longer have superstition that my enemy is the reason why I'm poor. My neighbor, the person next to me, is the reason why I'm not moving forward. Because poverty has to be there to foster what is called lack of social cohesion. That is poverty. It actually limits your, social life. Now, not only that it limits your social life, it creates insecurity. Insecurity. It creates racism. It creates racism. Racism. Now, let me tell you, like a place like the United States, where you find white, Indian, black, half-caste, Asians, everyone is actually in one nation, and everything is running, the way it should run. You find a particular community that is poor. Number one, they will hate themselves in their hood of poverty. Number two, they will be used against themselves in the hood of the particular community. Number three, they will envy themselves. They will actually hinder themselves from growing. So that is the reason why poverty is an institution whereby you use to control a particular people or particular group of people. Because when they are poor, they will no longer think like, they will no longer think freely. They will depend on superstition. They will pray more. They will do evil more. They will be stereotyped. That's how they are defeated. Once they are stereotyped, they are defeated. Now, well, let me, once you start stereotyping people, you should remember, it's either you are scared of these people or you are, making mockery of these people. That's the two things involved. The same thing that actually fosters racism. Once this group of people is poor, people of the other race, another community of people, maybe from India, China, Asia, Asian, and Europe, once they see that this group of people, they are poor, and secondly, poor people are susceptible to crime. Poor people are, susceptible to anything that, that survival mode does. Anything that you see happening when someone is on survival mode. Now, this poverty that they have found themselves into will make them to be prejudiced against by another race. Because once they hear the story, that is why it is very dangerous stereotyping them. You stereotype them, that fosters racism. Now, when these people are stereotyped, like they are always criminals, they are always, they do a particular crime, or you see, because there is poverty in their hood, then you now stereotype them that every one of them from that hood will become, bad person. That's how racism comes in. Because racism is an act of fear. You know, when I am actually in a lift with a white person, you know, if they decide to, maybe they don't feel comfortable around black people because of racism or because of what they were fed when they were growing up, because racism is passed from generation to generation. It is something that is actually been like a religion to many people. So it is always the problems of the parents, not the problems of the children when it comes to racism. So now, they will tell you this group of people are dangerous. You must avoid them. They behave like animals. You must avoid them. Now, those group of people, you will do everything. Maybe you will try to, if you are a naughty child, you want to explore to know why this group of people must be avoided. You go closer. A naughty child, you know, at the end of the day, maybe you are a naughty child. That's why you get a better person, because they went closer. They now observe what these people are going through. Now, when they observed what these people are going through, they will know now, this thing that my parents has been teaching me, it is not actually the way it is. It is maybe the other way around. Maybe these people are helpless. That's when you get a good person out of a particular racist community. Because he tried, he saw, he made friends, even though the family is not approving. Now, secondly, in so doing, let's go back to the reason why I am actually telling this long story. It is very, very important for us to understand that anywhere where there is poverty, there is inequality, there is superstition, there is religious, there is spiritualities, and there is envy and jealousy. Now, when these things are actually present in a particular place, that simply means that they will not have economic growth, they will not have economic transformation, they will not have financial freedom, because it will be all about anybody for themselves. Not only everybody for themselves, even if they have that, you know, individual financial freedom, you will find them still the limitation in the society where they come from. That limitation will still be a dark cloud on their neck or above them. The reason why it will still be the dark cloud above them, it is because they are actually one tree that is actually like standing in a forest. It is improper fraction. It is improper. So you cannot actually, you know, it does not, you know, bring anything positive amongst where it is. One tree in a forest, one particular So now let us continue. Sorry for that interruption. And so, in a particular place where there you have all these things, and all of them bring poverty. It brings a lot of things, bad things in a particular, group of, people or in a community. So, it is now going to now hinder the agreement. It hinders relationships, social cohesion, economic transformation, because everyone will be against everyone. People will be asking themselves, why aren't I the one doing it? Why can't I be the one calling the shots? This is exactly the type of question people will be asking themselves. Why am I not the one doing it? It is all about poverty, because where there is poverty, there is lack of a good education. Good education is not only, going to obtain, Western education. It is all about exposure. Exposure, because exposure matters very, very, it matters a lot in our lives. So we lack exposure because we don't even explore. We are actually, you find it is a particular poor society. The only thing they do, they are able to afford something they eat, and they wait for, and they don't know where the next meal is coming from. Okay, I am having some distractions, but I think it is sorted out now. And plus Facebook, I don't know, my network I believe is fine. Facebook is just doing its bid the way what it normally does. But that's okay. We will continue to preach the gospel. So that is the reason why when you find people in our society, you find out that people are actually lacking exposure to the extent that is actually what take people to have this sickness of Stockholm syndrome, because they're not exposed. They believe that this is exactly what the way it is. This is the way it should be. It is not about government to make life easy for us. It is not about government to make life worth living for us. It is government owns us. Government owns everything. Government owns the society. Government owns everything. The air we breathe, the oxygen, government owns it. But government is not this, distributing all these things that you believe they own back to the society equally. But instead, government is distributing it with the practices of nepotism, favoritism. This is the same, thing that will make you at some point suffering and smiling. Stockholm syndrome. That is suffering and smiling. That is the reason why you will find out that majority of people in Nigeria, they have grown to that extent of suffering and smiling, Stockholm syndrome, which enables them, at least they believe it is a norm. They believe this is the way we should live. We are not supposed to care about what's happening in our society until it affects us. That's what it leads to. Because they don't care about any other person. They don't care about any other thing. They care about what they, in fact, survival of the fittest. You will be in survival mode. So that's exactly what I have discovered that many African children are going through. And that is the reason why they don't have the resilience to actually push back and make a decision that will change their life, that will actually revolutionize their life to fit to the time where we are at. Since these big ones that is on the upper echelon cannot do the call for things to change, cannot apply what is supposed to, or the competencies that we presume they have in order to manage or change the situation that we found ourselves. It is the job of those who are on the receiving end of what these people on the upper echelon are actually giving out there: the crime, the intimidation, the inequality, the lack of medical care, all those things. You will actually discover that you are on the receiving end of this. So what end are you going to do as a person who is on the receiving end of these things? Is that you start thinking of a way out holistically. Don't think about a way out of, let us actually think about how we are going to, pick up this cup of rice or make sure we eat. No, holistically. So that when you are taking your time, you believe that we are wasting our time doing this, the talking. We are doing it. It is not wasting of time. It is what we can actually to impact some people to gain this knowledge of decolonization, knowledge of emancipation, in order to know what is rightfully theirs. Because what they are able to rip away from you is your right to self-determination, your right to vote, and your right to be voted for. That is what they have taken away from you. Immediately when these things were confiscated, it simply means that you are in a captivity. You are under captivity, but you are not actually aware of this captivity. That is the reason why we preach mind emancipation, for you to see the bigger picture and look for a holistic approach or holistic, solution that will solve these problems once and for all. But we cannot pay attention to such things because we are always learning how to navigate one cup of rice to eat. We are always learning how to navigate. There is no electricity. NEPA or power holding have taken electricity. So there is no electricity. We will learn how to navigate it with candle. We get used to it. It will be as they are very, very resilient. Just give them time to adjust. These people are very resilient. There is nothing like volatility, or it is about, these people are quite predictable, for lack of a better word. They are quite predictable, because that's why everything that they will tell you, it is the same thing they will tell you the next time they come in front of you, and you will continue to buy these stories. When we talk about revolution, revolution is how you understand things, how you see, how you understand your right as a person or citizen of where you come from. If you are able to understand your right and what needs to be done, because of course the justice system needs to come to the party, because the justice system will understand that it is the duty of her to defend somebody who cannot defend themselves. Not the duty of justice system to uphold inequality. It is the duty of the justice system to say every man is equal in the eyes of the law. Justice system It is the duty. It is not the duty of her to collect bribe and or to, to be unjust, regardless of, even if the government of the day is unjust. The justice system continues to hear and, make sure that the law is upheld for those who cannot help themselves. That is the reason why there is a constitution. That is the reason why there is a law. Now, many of African children does not understand the law that protects their rights, does not understand the law that governs democracy. Every constitutional democracy in the world, if that law that governs democracy is not compatible to the challenges that you are facing, then there will be a referendum. If it does not work out in the parliament for them to change this law, on gazette this law that is going to help to improve their lives and foster social cohesion, they will never, because nobody knows their right. Nobody knows their right. Instead, all these things becomes a norm. While it becomes a norm to you, as the person who is on the receiving end of these challenges, it becomes a norm to you, the same way it becomes a norm to those who are depriving you of your right. To an extent that once it becomes a norm to them, any day you rise up to complain, they will shut you down, whether by death or by whatever attack. They will shut you down because you are not reminding them that this place where they are, it is you that placed them there. Constitutional democracy. So as long as you never reminded them that this place you placed them, they don't have right to do as they please, because we are all in this together. Without us, there will be no you. So therefore, we are not about, we did not place you there for you to actually, gain monopoly, to undermine our capability. We place you there because you are having a quality of a leader. Not because you are sent to that throne and then we will see you as almighty, omnipotent, or what do you call them? Yeah, omnipotent. You see them as omnipotent. You can't touch them. That's why they see you as their rag, as their nothing. You can't challenge them, because you place them there. And once you do first thing, there is a wise guy that says, if you give somebody a gift for the first time, give them a gift for the second time, third time, the fourth time, it becomes their right. That it will look as if you must give them this gift every day. They will no longer appreciate you. They see it as something that you're supposed to be doing. That is exactly the conundrum we have created over the years. And that is the reason why there is a struggle for self-determination today in the geographical expression called Nigeria. That is what it was called. I heard it from the president of Nigeria Emeritus. Geographical expression called Nigeria. It is not my saying. Now, you understand that because we lack this opportunity to explore because of poverty. Because poverty must be an institution that keeps them down. Because poverty makes you not to go into the justice system to understand your rights. Poverty will not enable you to actually go into the, into the judicial, into the law court, and iron out a case between you and Mr. A and Mr. B. And Mr. B, once they are more exposed, they intimidate you. Just is about who will get more exposed. That's why most of us, we only go to school to obtain the, the competency of speaking, grammar. We only are interested in gaining the competency of speaking grammar, even more than the owners of the language. We go deep that sometimes the owners of the language might not even understand what you are actually talking about, because you want to go deep in that language. We do it in order to intimidate one another. We don't know what we need to do at the time, at the right thing, or how to do something great at the great time. We do some things at the wrong time. So when we have prolonged our action to recover actually our right as a human, our right to live, our right to vote and to be voted for, our right to self-determination, our right to referendum under democratic dispensation, that means we are doomed. And as long as we continue to believe that this right doesn't exist, because there is military and there is police carrying firearm all over the place, looking for who to raise their community, that is when people will begin to be strategic. Because if you understand, people will begin to be radical and strategic. Radicality and strategic, because it takes the help, the kingdom of heaven suffered violence during the days of John the Baptist, but the violent people take it by force. That is the radicality. The violent does not necessarily mean that you will take a gun and go into the bush and start fighting and start killing people. Violent in the mind, violent in thinking. This is the same people that will take it by force, because your brain is violent in thinking. It is all about, kickstarting that your brain, your ability to reason, your ability to make decisions, your ability to navigate problems. That is the same mode that we're supposed to be finding ourselves right now. It is not the time for us to waste and start, talking stories and looking for who wear this or who wear what or who said this or who said that, because that is exactly how they have positioned us. One thing or the other will get us jealous. One thing or the other will make us to be crazy. One thing or the other will get our mind off it, because you believe that leadership is all about power and control. That's exactly what many of us believe. And that is the reason why when you make yourself available doing something that is good, you will find it attracting negative people around you. Now, you will find somebody who is speaking, and you will find somebody who is doing great things that will enable our lives to change. The next thing they will do, the people that what he is saying it's creating a bad business for them, is either they call this person that is displaying and doing this good job, is either they call him, bribe him to join force with them to continue to oppress the rest. That is the mind of many people. It is about them making themselves available for time to come. Maybe it will attract them of opportunity, because it is about power of control. It is not about power for us to, all of us gain what we are looking for. That is the reason why you see faction that is called autopilot today. And there will be many more. There will be many more. And it is very, very important for us to understand that once there is something that divides us, once we are not liberal, we are not employing liberalism in discussing our problems, in navigating the issues that is actually, that is our challenges, there is no way we are going to move forward as a people who are trying to, be free. If we cannot learn how to be liberal in listening to one another, if we cannot learn how to be liberal in understanding my belief and understanding that you cannot force yours on me and I cannot force yours I cannot force mine on you. Let the bigger argument win. Let the bigger argument, in fact, I'm not talking about argument. Let the bigger evidential argument win. Or evidence-based argument, pardon me. Evidence-based argument. Let that evidence-based argument win. Not I hear say they say. Or they say they say they say. Or they told me and it was supposed to be like this. Let the evidence-based win. Liberalism will enable us to iron out our problems without us actually fighting with one another. Liberalism. It is not that difficult for us to achieve that. But what is stopping us is ITK. I too know. Nobody knows it all. Nobody knows it all. I listen more. People that knows me very well, I listen more and I talk less. But when I have chance to speak, I will speak things that many people might not understand, but only the learned. I am not talking about those who are only in the classroom learning. Only the learned, people who are exposed, people who are experienced, people who are, having, who are liberal people. Those are people who will understand what we are talking about, and they might make use of it. Some of them might not. It is important for us to know that poverty is very, very bad, and it is an institution that they have given to us. And it is up to us to know how to do our things, because when there is poverty, everybody will be wanting to actually, grow bigger than the next person in order to challenge the next person, or in order to make that person their, subject. That is, it is poverty. It fosters, what do you call it? Competition, which is a very, very negative competition. Poverty. So while we will be busy at these things, it also destroys the sense of leadership. Poverty. It destroys the sense of leadership. Those who has this sense of leadership in them, poverty destroys it, that you will never actually find those anymore. That's why it is necessary for us to emancipate and decolonize. Let us go beyond this poverty mentality. Because many people might think they are rich today, but they have poverty mentality. It is not about acquiring wealth, acquiring the type of luxuries, that create or remove this poverty mentality from you. It is about exposure. It is about humanity. It is about information. Those are the things that will enable you to emancipate and be free and be liberal, to be able to digest other people's experience and compare it to your experience, and now make a very, very important decision with them. Not only to have this, you don't want to hear it. All you want is to brush it aside, because you believe that the one you have is better than every other person. The one you have might not be, evidence-based. It might be as a result of your critical thinking. Then that's where it becomes a problem. That is exactly where it becomes a problem. So if if we are able to employ liberalism, we will be able to go far. As a black community, as African children who are on the receiving end of this problem that we have found ourselves into, that is exactly from that perspective we are trying to, bring us out. Because the reason why we will be able to know these things is because we came from such environment and we decided to know more. Because we talk less, we absorb more. That's why when we begin to talk more, we talk wisdom. Or when we begin to implement our wisdom, it becomes a positive wisdom that will help everybody in their different spaces. So it is time for the Nigeria youth, Nigeria people, or African children who are on the receiving end of this marginalization, of this, economic exclusion, of this, displacement, which is the most, crucial part of them all. Displacement. There is a systemic displacement. There is a violent displacement. Systemic displacement is actually dangerous, but not violent. But violent displacement is very, very dangerous and violent as well. So what we are going through in the eastern region or in Africa as a whole is what is called systemic displacement. Systemic displacement. Systemic displacement are those displacements that now I have to leave my family if they are still there. You have to leave your family if they are still there. You go to another man's land where you in the search of a greener pasture, where you will need to provide your documents every given time. To obtain these documents, you might not have money to obtain it. Where you find yourself in, you will only be doing menial job, or sometimes you resort to illegality because there is no way you will get a job if you are not into the system of what the place is all about. You will be doing all sorts of one or two in order to survive. At the same time, you are actually taking a risk that will destroy your future. It has the ability to destroy you. Poverty. You have displaced yourself from your own mother's place, from your own father's place, from your own siblings, from your own community, from your own classmates, from your own friends, from your own folks. You have displaced yourself and left them behind in search of a greener pasture. That is a displacement, systemic displacement. Now you talk about violent displacement is what Boko Haram and Fulani headsmen are doing. That is a violent displacement. It all fall to the cat. All of them are just displacement, political displacement. That's what all of them. There is violent political displacement. There is now systemic political displacement, which enables them to have more time to explore what they are going to exploit from you, because they will keep you busy hustling and trying to make ends meet, trying to change the dynamics of your family economically. Now, while you are trying to do so, they are busy exploiting you. That is the reason why there is a saying, a wise saying that say, people does not know that sometimes what they are looking for on top of the tree is actually beneath the tree. Then you have to take risk. You climb the tree. By the time you realize that what you are looking for on top of the tree is beneath the tree, it is actually too late, maybe. Sometimes if you are lucky, you realize it on time. And that is the reason why tomorrow might be too late and today you can still start your own emancipation. You can start your own emancipation. The people of Nigeria, it is time for them to push back. There is something I was watching the other day. It say, if life push me, I push back. These people has been pushing you, toiling with you, deprive you of education, deprive you of medical care, deprive you of infrastructural development, deprive you of every essential amenities, and they make it to be a privilege instead of a necessity. That fosters inequality. Now, you find out that it is systemic because you have to be displaced for you to go, and you might be displaced for years. Maybe some of you might be displaced. Your parents might even die. You might not be able to give them farewell. Bid them farewell. You might not be able to say bye to them or even have a last word with your parents because you are displaced to United States, Europe, Russia, Asia, everywhere. You are displaced because you don't even have traveling document to return in order to go and bid your dying parents farewell. Have you now seen how it is they are torturing you? And what is happening to you is a systemic plan that was put in place very many years ago. That is the reason why they said, the Bible says that we are not fighting against the flesh and blood, but we are fighting against principalities and power. It is principles that somebody invented or constructed and make it a manifest through making laws, through moving on to have a power of control. It is a principle that anybody who wants to have power of control must put in place. If you put it in place, as long as there is poor people, there will be people who are susceptible to crime. There are people who are actually, addicted to go against the law. So when there are people that are addicted to go against the law because they are poor, and there are people who love oppressing people because they are rich, and the leadership in Africa has become it is about getting a political power that I may bring back. In fact, I may be invincible, that no one challenges me. Everything I say goes. If it doesn't go my way, it is no way. That is exactly the type of leadership that we have in the continent of Africa. And that is the reason why there will be no economic growth, or there will be no infrastructural development or social and essential amenities that you're supposed to have, not as a privilege, but as a necessity, coming from the government of the day. As government of the day will contradict themselves, telling you it is not their duty to create a job opportunity, but it is their duty to create enabling environment. It is also their duty to create job opportunity by employing what is called meritocracy, technocracy. Because when you actually deploy by merit, that place where you deploy will never have, loopholes. But when you deploy by favoritism, you deploy because many people that are actually relatives to the governor, the president in Nigeria, they are in strategic positions in the government or in SOEs. They are in strategic position in every part of SOEs or every part of government department. Without being, maybe they study something, somebody who study fine art, they will go and be petrol minister. Fine art, oh, they become petrol minister. Look at that. Think about it. What do you think if there is a petrochemical engineer that need to have, quotation to repair? Even they won't be able to do market survey because they don't know what is being repaired. But if you are an engineer deployed in a field of your qualification, and you must have a field experience because we don't believe in academics. What we believe in is field experience. That's why no matter how much academics you have, you must have experience in order to furnish your salary to be more than, what is supposed to be normal. If you have 3 years field experience, that is most of the things that big companies are requiring in order to place you in a good position. Now, if you don't have that field experience, that means education is incomplete. The one you did, you could easily go for the field experience only, instead of going to waste your time in the classroom. That is African education. Apprenticeship, field experience enables you to obtain the knowledge in a very short period of time. Then you will use this other time to obtain another knowledge. If you want to go into classroom, you can go into classroom, maybe obtain a knowledge of communication, obtain a knowledge of, probably, social, cohesion, obtain a knowledge of commerce, yes. But when it comes to this engineering, obtain it in the field. When it comes to medical scientists, obtain it in the field. You obtain it in, that one, I believe it is also good to obtain it academically, but the field one is more important. That was how we used to live. If you understand if you understand the system of medicine or practicing medicine in Africa, pre-colonialism, we obtain it in the field. We don't go to academics because that's when we will know herbals and know what it cures. We go to follow the Dibia, the traditional healer or whoever, to show you herbals. And when it cures it, holistically. It is not about managing the illness or the ailment. But today, we only manage our problems. We don't cure them. We manage them. We manage them. That is the reason why the classroom overtook and overshadowed the field. Because if you go to the field, you learn faster. And you don't need to waste more time when you are in the field. You learn faster in the field than when you go to the classroom. They will start teaching you Obi is a boy. A is for abchid. Obi is a boy. A is for apple. B is for ball. Obi is a boy. Ada is a girl. All these things, and they still tell you time is money. Is money. Isn't that funny? It is quite funny. So when they begin to deploy, technocrats and employing, meritocracy, then everything will fall into place. You will know that you are deploying an engineer where an engineer is needed. You are not deploying an artist where engineer is needed. And they will be novice. And people and the world is all about exploitation. If you are a novice in a particular situation, people will take advantage of that situation of your novice. If you lack information, people who has information sells it to you at the price that you don't even know how to pay. That's exactly the way it is. Why are we wasting our time? Why can't we do things differently? There is no leadership in Africa. We do not have leaders. What we have is errand boys. From errands boys of Europe, errands boys of China, errands boys of Russia, errand boys of the US. That's what we have in Africa. Because they pop out dollars. They pop out money. Fiat money for that matter. It is not even, assets. So when you talk about these dynamics, I believe you will call for a change, because there is no time. Time waits for no man. Let's go straight to the point. There is a plan. Of course, so many of you knows that Niger Republic, they are pushing the American soldiers out of Niger. Niger republics are pushing American soldiers out of Niger because America has a military station there, or military deployment there, barracks. Niger military junta several ties with the US, several ties with France. Now, that US military, deployment or whatever military station they have, where is it going to go? That is the question many people are asking. Where is it going to go? Is it going to go into Nigeria? Because wherever they are, they control the affairs and the intelligence of such place. They will even know better than you know. They will not, there is no territorial integrity. It is about them, having now let's just not emphasize on that too much, on their activities too much. Let us actually ask, where is it going to go? Many people does not know. Maybe it will go to Nigeria because France and Nigeria and France and the sitting government, the government of the day and the US, they have a good relationship. They have a good relationship. So is it going to go to Nigeria? Is it going to go to where? Because it's only Nigeria. And Nigeria is against the move being made to destroy or to curb colonialism or neocolonialism in Africa. Anything that will make you lose your territorial integrity, that's what Niger people are trying to avoid, so that they will take charge of their country. Not be controlled by a proxy, because it is always a proxy that is controlling us. Just like in Nigeria, you are being ruled by a proxy. At the end of the day, this proxy does what is best for the company. Does what is best for the company. Now, the reason why I put a company there is because anything where you have a management is a business. So the countries in Africa are like business, belonging to capitalists of the Europeans and America, belonging to the neo-colonialists from Europeans and Americans, China also, and other nations. So in that business, they created a proxy, which is what you call your president. That is why some certain area like Nigeria, you might not have power to vote and be voted for. There is a force that selects who they want them to be there. You see, the thing they used to convince Peter Obi, how they were able to convince Peter Obi, he even ended up opening a party that is identical party as their colonialists, as Britain, Labour Party in Britain, Labour Party in Nigeria. So identical. That is actually an evidence to show you that even if he goes there, he will still be dealing with the peripheral issue. He will still be dealing with peripheral issue. So he will become only but a proxy. And it doesn't matter to them whether they become a proxy or they become a president that is fully in control of his territorial integrity. It does not matter to them, because it makes them to be powerful amongst their people. So they don't care. They get everything they want in a platter, while you are there, being in a survival mode, even ready to eat up anybody that will block you, take them away from the road, when it can be made easy for you by your government. Africa have different resources that can foster growth and radical economic transformation in Africa within the course of 5 years. Within the course of half a decade, Africa has what it takes to transform. But why aren't they transforming? Because there is a proxy that is being controlled by someone, peripheral person, investor, who has the highest shareholder. So, and the person who has the highest shareholder calls the shot, regardless of whether this business was your intellectual property. As long as the things we're talking about, somebody will be calling you. Blacks, somebody will be calling you, you will be rejecting the call. They keep on calling, keep on calling, keep on calling. You reject the call. It's either you send a message and understand that this person cannot take your call at the moment. They keep on calling. That's bad. It's actually invading my space right now. So, but that's by the way. So, it is up. These are actually very common in the, poor environment. Very common. They don't know what is, people's space. They don't know how to stop invading people's space. So now let's go back to the point. So if these people leave, where are they going? Are they going to Nigeria? We know very well that they have a good relationship with Nigeria. They are the ones controlling the proxy, who is the one that through a so-called democratic dispensation that you have elected them in, whilst there is somebody who chose them and make sure they were there. So if Obi was also going to be a proxy in the hands of people from Chatham House, or in the hands of people of Labour Party, where Labour Party originates from. That's what it was going to be. We don't need to be, partial about it. And it was going to be worse because they will be asking you, you say make you give Igbo presidency. What in Igbo presidency don't bring? Because they will question you more. They will be on your case. They will tell you are the worst. You will find people protesting. You will find people. That's what it is going to resolve to. The reason why people will get more angry, because it is not that, it is not that people who they are already, falling in love with, who oppress them so much. It is not their, that their normal comfort zone. This is another one. So people will be pissed off against you, and because you are Igbo. So it was going to be the worst. It was going to be the worst. So, in all these things that we are seeing, you find out that you can never get a good leader. In a nation that you find people that are disconnected, they don't have anything in common. It is all about tribe. It is all about tribe. And you find people of these tribes, they don't even care about their tribesmen. They only care about the cabals around them. Now, that is the reason why you go to Fulani communities. You will find people who are still Alomajiri. You will find people who are still, waiting for someone to invite them and give them a gun to go and become a terrorist in the bush. Have you now seen that it doesn't end by tribe? It is about my tribe. It is about when they become, what actually makes it a tribal issue is that when Fulani goes there, the people they will put around them that will help them to control the nation is their own tribes, which is the cabals in their tribes, who understand the wickedness. Those are the people they will put there. Both the ones that are uneducated, nomadic, terrorists, they will put all of them there. Now think about it. When a Yoruba man goes in, he put cabals of the people that he trusts from his own people, Yoruba. That is the reason why we think it is tribal. There is nothing about tribal in the leadership of Nigeria, because it does not bring development in any part of these places. There is no development in the north, but the northern people has been president since 1960. Since time immemorial, or from time immemorial, they have been presidents. They have been the one who is even, somebody that is greater than a proxy. Before you find now the major shareholder. Proxy is a kind of person who has a power of attorney. A person who has a power of attorney can act as a proxy. So when we are talking about proxy, we are not talking about the director or the biggest one. No. Anyone can be a proxy. Now, I'm trying to bring you to the layman, or even to the layman understanding, for you to know that the one you call your leader is just, a manager. Just a manager. So, you see, that's why he cannot empower his own people. Even though the reason why we hear about it is a tribe, because those who actually have access to media, they are the politicians. Once it doesn't get to them, you will start hearing the news, it is about tribe. But the ordinary people who have no access to media, who will speak for them? Nobody. That is the reason why you will see them continuously. It is about tribe, but if you go to Fulani land, there is no development, there is no social cohesion, there is no economic opportunity, there is no hospital, there is no school. You'll find out, but they have been in power over the years. Then what exactly was going on? Then when we talk about the division in Nigeria, people will still be saying it is not about division. It is not about division. When the children of these cabals, who are actually the proxy, will continue to recycle them, they come back and lead you the same way their father did. It's about that. Because this agreement and this arrangement and this dancing to the tone of neo-colonialists, it is about those who they make that arrangement with. That is the reason why you see in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, you will find them making their own decision, because those people that reach the arrangement that is an ending arrangement, lifetime arrangement, that they will be in control of this company called your country. They will be in the arrangement of the company called your country. It will never end. But immediately when there is division, in Nigeria especially, immediately when we come to a referendum, because you don't have the stomach for revolution. Of course, you don't have the stomach for revolution. So the best way it will be easy for you, as because I've seen that we have grown to become cowards. We have grown to become cowards. So since we don't have that revolutionary mindset, we can call for a referendum. That referendum, if everyone lend their voice, they call for a referendum. Once we have a referendum, people decide what they are going to, what is going to be. Then if they say, let there be Biafra, let there be Arewa, let there be Oduduwa, now there will be a bilateral and multilateral relationship that governs these people, and as long as every of them have their territorial integrity, let people govern themselves, and it is a fresh blood, fresh people. It is not going to be among those who make the arrangement. It is not going to be those who make arrangement of this let there be that will govern. You don't need to be emotional about it. And that is the way it is. Government, leadership, it is not about, you don't need somebody to do person a favor in giving them leadership. It is not by favor. It is not by emotion. It is a mantle. So in a situation whereby you are fighting for freedom today, you are the one who lead the military. You lead the military to fight for that freedom, and you achieve that freedom. It is not necessarily a necessity for you to be the leader of that nation you fought for. It is not. You can be a kingmaker, but not through nepotism now. That's why you don't need to be the leader. People will now choose who they will be able to hold accountable. It is not because they won't be able to hold you accountable, because they owe you a debt. In their mind, they owe you a debt. In their mind. And in their mind, they don't understand that everything you do it for them and for yourself also. But you pay the sacrifice. That's why your name is written in the book of life. That is the reason why you see there is, when we want to address Ojukwu, we say our eternal leader, Ojukwu. His name has been written in the book of life. So exactly that is exactly what we owe every hero. We remember them in good times. Every time we memorize their name, we memorize everything, we teach them in our schools in order to honor them. That's what we owe them. We honor them. We don't owe them granting them leadership even when they might not be a good leader, but they might be a good soldier. That is what we must understand as we are in the quest for freedom. Because once we are able to achieve this freedom we are looking for, the next thing is that we need to know the leadership and the dynamics. Because if we make it, if we get it wrong, it will still be like Nigeria. It is about foundational problem. Because the first leader that will lead will determine if other people are going to succeed. If the first ever leader make mistake, or if you select the first ever leader out of emotion, believe you me, you might not be able to hold them to account if they make mistake. That is the reason why you select someone you will be able to hold to account. And we enact a law that will make anybody who loot state assets or state funds will be, charged with treason. We'll make it a treasonable offense. You will find people, and it is a treasonable offense enforceable without any iota. So it is important for us to know that it is us that will shape our world the way we want it. So those people who see themselves as the people of Nigeria, who they say Nigeria know they carry last, and at the end of the day you do whatever you are doing, you don't remember that you need to do something for something to happen. You cannot sit in your comfort zone for something to happen. Whenever you see politicians trying to convince the people on the ground that they are humble, they want something from you. There is a video I have seen. I don't know, many of you might have seen this video, but it actually meant something different to me. Let me play it. They say it is Almajiri, a governor of, is it a governor of Oyo State, something like that. Governor of somewhere in the north is breaking his fast with eating with a poor Almajiri. Poor Almajiri is breaking his fast eating with the poor Almajiri. Now, why must it, does there need, is it necessary to have a poor Almajiri if there is a good leadership? You don't need to have poor Almajiri, that you need to feel pity for them. And this, meanwhile, you believe that you have fasted Ramadan. The evil people, they have fasted Ramadan. Let me go and eat with these people I made poor, so that they will feel the sense of belonging. And they are doing it because they are looking for something from you. Not because of morality. Not because of, it is not because of humanity. It is because they know they want something from you. That is the reason why you will see them. Nebuya, look at it. Let me play it. Ana alakwa pure water. Are you watching? This is the way it is. In the way they are humbling themselves, you make these people poor. Because the decision you make can elevate these people and move them away from poverty. What is that decision? Bringing economic opportunity equally without practicing nepotism, favoritism, or favorism. Without practicing any of this, then everybody will have access to get and fit in any way possible that their capacity will be able to, get them to. They will be highly, they will appreciate it a lot. And they will remember you. But not going to eat with them this Ramadan. The same person might be hungry, or maybe because you ate with them, you give them 100,000. Maybe 100,000 naira. Somebody who meet with the governor, who ate with the governor. And they will be bragging, we ate with the governor. When governor, all these people, is not supposed to be something we brag about. These are our people who are serving us. They are in service and they are getting paid by you. That service that they are actually rendering to the nation, they are getting paid. It is not, they are not doing it for free. So they need to be held accountable. They need to be held to account. That's why you cannot choose somebody that you are not able to hold to account, that you will be having emotions for. No. And for now, we cannot correct this in this era without revolutionizing our mindset, revolutionizing the way we understand and the way of our approach, without radicalizing our revolution. That's it. We cannot get it. It is time for us to call for, it's either referendum or people will do something. Let there be referendum. People should be tired of this rubbish. Every day is a bad news. Every time is a bad news. Aren't you tired of it? Now, I want to show you something. Fulanis are actually, understanding that working with these people, and once Fulani lose power, Fulani will begin to bring out truth. And of course, Fulani, if you think about Fulani people, I want you to know that those people are very, very, they are very, very resolute. This thing we they say that Igbo people are wise, Igbo people are wise. Why is rich Fulani? You know, when you come to everything is Igbo people will get them. Everything Igbo people will get them. You don't get anything. When you come to mental strength, you know reach them. You know reach Fulani. When it comes to resilience, you know reach Fulani. When it comes to standing their ground against external opposition, you know reach Fulani. They stand their ground. When it comes to how to, you know, come together and fight a common enemy, you know reach Fulani. You know reach Fulani now. All those things. Maybe when it comes to business, entrepreneurship, you reach Fulani, you pass Fulani. But that is not, you know, general wisdom. It's not holistic wisdom. Wisdom in business is not wisdom in leadership. So there are people who knows and they take advantage of that which they have in order to suppress that which you have. Because that which you have is only self-centered. Now, let us listen to Garba Shehu. I thought Garba Shehu don't hide in face. Let us listen to Garba Shehu. There is something important that Garba Shehu asked. And you will be wondering, why is Garba Shehu? Why is Garba Shehu speaking like this? Why is he speaking like this? But he's a Fulani man. They know how to fight to gain control. They know how to fight to gain control. Once they lose power, they don't care. They don't use koni to enter. They lambast everywhere. Anybody that need to will be lambasted. Fulani will, in order to get the power. Now, listen.
Something is happening right across our border with Niger. And I think it is very important for our policymakers in Nigeria to pay closer attention. After expelling the United States, the French forces, Operation Barkhane from Niger, today Niger is severing their ties with the US. And they are asking all the 2 or 3 US military bases to vacate their territory. And in fact, there was even a signal that is coming from the US military command that let them start moving away from Niger Republic. So this is a huge dynamics. Why? Because just a few days ago, we had a request for help by the United States military that they will assist us in recovering some of the victims that were captured or kidnapped by the bandits. My fear here is this, that now that the US is vacating Niger Republic, which is very close to us here in Nigeria, our policymakers must ensure at all costs that they did not transfer the military bases from Niger Republic down to Nigeria. Because it is clear that the entire West is losing the Sahel. If they vacated Niger Republic, it means that the entire Sahel is out of the control of the US. It's out of the control of the West. It's out of the control of France. And this is a serious problem.
Pay attention.
And Nigeria must not be a playground for this mighty global war. It is clear that if Niger is severing relationship with the US and France, it is inviting Russia. And a situation whereby we allow the US military bases in Nigerian soil, it means that we, Nigeria and Niger, may likely confront each other in the name of US fighting the Russians on African soil. And we should not agree to that. And you can see the desperation of the French. You've seen that they've lost almost all the allies within West Africa. In fact, most recently, I think they are losing Senegal because Ousmane Sonko, the strongest opposition leader in the country, is just released from prison. And the election is coming on the 24th of this month. And the likelihood that they are going to win is almost 90%. Macky Sall, the current president, have lost control of Senegal. And with the loss of all its African colonies, France have nothing again to continue to sustain its first world status. And that is why he's putting a lot of pressure in Ukraine to go and fight the Russians. The whole target is, if they succeeded in winning Russia, they will share the booty. What is the booty? The massive amount of resources that the Russian Federation has. That's the whole fight that you see NATO is planning to get war against Russia. It's just to share the country in pieces and exploit the massive resources that the entire Europe and the West doesn't have, so that they can take whatever they can take and exploit from Russian Federation. And the Russians are ready for this war. And the Russians say that they are ready to confront and fight whoever, whenever there's a NATO troops in Ukraine. This is a serious problem, and we do not have to import that crisis in Russian-Ukrainian drama into African soil. And a situation whereby US is being expelled, France is expelled in Niger, and they find sanctuary in Nigeria. It means we are creating a direct confrontation between our neighbors on the superpower games that is needless, that we don't need. So we have to pay critical attention to any aid that is coming from foreign powers in our country, because it may likely bring them into a base within our country, and that could not be good for our future. Thank you.
Okay. You know why? What I understand from what Garba Shehu is talking about is that you should not seek for any help in curbing terrorism in Nigeria. That is number one. It is a double-edged sword. You should not seek for any help in curbing terrorism in Nigeria. Because if you seek for help in curbing terrorism, because that's why he ended up to say any help. He didn't talk about military base again. He talked about any help. It was a slip of tongue. That's what I observed there. Now, if you bring external people to come and help fight Fulani and bandits, it might hurt their own people, because they are, sponsoring their own people so that their own resources will be controlled by them. They want to be the ones controlling these resources in their land while benefiting from the ones in our land. It is one of it. So him talking about military base, US military base, it makes sense. That aspect makes sense. But why is it? This guy was in Aso Rock for 8 years. He was in Aso Rock for 8 years. No two missing in action. This is one of the people who ruled Nigeria when your president is missing in action, Buhari. So you should understand that when this guy is talking, and you have seen people calling on president to negotiate with the terrorists. You have heard people talking about president negotiating with the terrorists. And you have seen Garba Shehu coming to tell you don't need to bring any help from these people. Yes, he is right. But what could be, let me put it this way, what could be his interest? It cannot be unconnected to what you see. Let's negotiate with the bandits. It is, most of the time, people will say good thing in order to defend, their wrong things. Most time. Look at it. He is talking about help that is external. That means the call for negotiation with the bandits is now official. It is something that they have gathered, they have actually planned. Because these are Fulani soldiers. These people we are calling bandits, they are Fulani soldiers of conquest. They are Fulani military of conquest. We call them bandits. So if you are going to bring force that will eradicate them, it affects Fulani as well. We don't have the same ideology. I don't have problem with them creating their own soldiers. But let their soldiers stop killing innocent people. That's it. Let their soldiers stop killing innocent people. They should create their own soldiers. After all, they understand the security. What time is it? That it is time for them to dip Quran in the ocean. You as a people from the west, south, What have you discovered? What time do you think it is? How do you plan to protect yourself? How do you plan to navigate this problem that is coming to your doorsteps? Did you plan? I miss Mazen Nnamdi Kanu so much. Regardless of all this shenanigans going on, I miss him so much. But at the end of the day, what are you planning, or what is in your mind to do about this issue, about these problems, about your own security? Because Fulanis are doing the needful, sponsoring their own people, sponsoring their bandits. The one we call, that's why they cannot call them terrorists, they call them bandits. So, how do we, even though they were proscribed, but no one calls them terrorists, except us who read the proscription documents. We call them terrorists because I read this proscription documents. Now, no one calls them, not even the media house in Nigeria. Why? Because the people who created this are the people that controls even the media. They don't want external force because they have a plan. They want to have a plan. If Nigeria wants, they bring American military base. That is their problem. Of course, it is losing your territorial integrity. That is exactly what it is. Dancing to the tone of neo-colonialists. That is exactly what it is. It's their business. It doesn't concern us. All we are looking for is a referendum so that we will go and do our nation building. We need a referendum for us to go and do our nation building and make our people free from all this evil politics that people play with our lives. That's what we can do. And of course we can. You don't want to continue in a nation where people will loot us. Gangs of looters. They will loot when they brought to the Commission of Inquiries or to court and remind them of their problem. They will start acting fainting. They will start playing that like they are dying.
Are you aware that every expenditure you make from 31st May till date are not
this person you see acting drama like he is dying. A sitting leader, a leader that is rooted in corruption. They are throwing his crime onto his face. And he started acting like he's dying. Nigeria is a drama. And at the end of the day, you might find out that no one will hold him to account because all of them are the same. They do the same. They protect them. They protect each other. So, you find him acting like when he was taking all this money, just like you are hearing of Akpabio scandals, which I'm trying to follow that news, but I haven't followed it. We are hearing about his scandals, which is exactly what we were going to bring out, and when we analyze it, we will tell him that placing him there is not what gives the Bambili people, what do you call them? The middle coastal people. It doesn't make them great. It doesn't mean that they are having economic inclusion. No. It is just the cabals that will dance to the tone of the master. That's what you saw selecting of Akpabio. So, and at the end of the day, you will find out that Akpabio corruption will come out even before the corruption of Attorney General Malami. Akpabio corruption might come out before the Malami's corruption will come out. It is like that, right? You heard about the story of Niger, is it Niger area, Delta area, where they said military people were, sent to God. Now you find out that the military went back to the community, burned the whole community. Burn the community. They are not looking for, it is what is happening in Hamas. Hamas attacked Israel and they killing 1,000 something people. Israel went to now to retaliate. Israel is now, bombing children, bombing hospital, bombing innocent people, bombing everything, including refugee camp. They have killed more than 30,000 people. Israel. So, and the same people who are deploying this military, because they are Muslim, they are crying that Israel is bombing Hamas because it's a Muslim country, but without look, Israel is bombing Gaza strips, because it's a Muslim country. But them themselves, they went to a community and they were shot by maybe, what do you call it? What do you call these people? Especially people who are pushing back. They don't want, activities of military, or they don't want this government. What do you call them? Rebellions or rebels. Maybe they were shot by rebels. Instead of them looking for the rebels, they will look for innocent people's properties and they burn it. They burn all of it, and they will still have the morale to come and say Israel is bombing Hamas, innocent people. The same people, oh. Not like I am not supporting Israel in what they are doing. But I am giving you as an example. What they are doing is heinous crime. The same thing these people are doing, going to communities, bombing innocent people, the same thing they've been doing in Biafra land. When there is a rebel that actually, fights them, they go back against the innocent people. Because it is locally. No one talks about it. It is the Israel one we are hearing every day, everywhere. That is it. Do unto others what you want others to do unto you. Because what you do unto others, one day you will get it in hybrid. Now, if you look at it, you find out that people who are rich are continuously becoming generationally rich. Because that is exactly, if you think about Rockefeller family, you find out they have been generationally rich. Generation to generation, they are rich. They are rich because they have planned it. These are the people who controls the world. These are the people whom their ancestors made laws, made policies that is still yielding them fruit. In maybe the fruit is yielding them. It doesn't matter if it is from exploiting others, but it is about increasing them. It is about increasing them themselves. Now listen to this.
Are you aware that every expenditure you make from 31st May till date are not
When he was eating all this expenditure, when he was doing all this expenditure, maybe they will tell him are not fruitful expenditure. Because he will be writing he made expenditure while he don't pocket the money, use and buy maybe property somewhere, use and hide somewhere. They will now call it non-fruitful expenditure. Because he will write it down. There will be a receipt. The money embezzled will have a receipt. So that's exactly the way they will, at the end of the day, he's acting like he's dying. After acting like he's dying, the next thing he's going to do is to, when you guys come back, he will say, I played you. he give all of you middle finger. So it is very, very important for this generation to begin to think differently. It is very, very important for this generation to begin to think differently. Fulanis, they are fighting for their own protection. They are making sure that their conquest mission is actually protected. But every other person, it's all about what are we going to put in the pocket. We want to be the leaders. We want to get into the leadership position. Once you get there, it's all about, once you get there, you have power to control people. You don't want to have power to change the life of people. It is about having power to control people. That is what we have in Africa. If there will be a particular classroom education in Africa, it must be a leadership education. Because you don't have leaders no more. The principalities and powers, which is the law, the guns and bullets, of the army and the technology that they have deployed, principalities and powers of the darkness. That is exactly what we are talking about. The principles, the law, the everything they have put in place that is supposed to keep you down while they continue to rise. I wrote a post the other day about the constitutional crisis happening in Britain. It is something that people does not know it is happening. There is a serious constitutional crisis happening in Britain, and there is a serious economic challenges happening in Britain. And you see, even across Europe, you heard one of them complaining about the immigration of the Muslim people into Europe. Then you see, it will enable you also to understand that what these people are doing, what these people were doing, it is they have a mind of let them displace you. You come to them, they have control and dominion over you. Now, they are not actually thinking about the rippling effect it is going to have on them. Because they will see what with, if like in that African continent, if South Africa, which always cry about foreign nationals from other African nations, if the government of South Africa does not want their people to continue crying of foreign nationals from across African nations, that same African nation, they should be able to call the leaders to account. You cannot be eating and dining with the leaders of this country instead of calling them to order because their people are actually making or committing these crimes in your country. Of course, if you call them, they will say, no, these people, you must deal with them as per law. Or they will tell you, yes, of course, but call them to account, call them to order. Because their problem is affecting you. If you are not benefiting from their problem, you must call them to order. So if you cannot call them to order, you are benefiting from their problem. And now you are making ordinary people who are actually looking for a greener pasture because of lack of leadership where they come from. And you are friends to those who are exploiting them. Why do you think you have the morality to come and say these people they are foreigners from other countries and they are destroying your country, they're taking your job, they're doing that? You don't have morality to say so. Because you cannot call those countries' leadership in order, and you have the right to do so. Because their problem and their extravagancy and the wickedness is affecting your country. That is the only way African countries will be okay. You will find leaders trying to do something wrong because they are being criticized in the African Union, in the Addis Ababa. They are criticizing each other for lack of leadership in Addis Ababa. Not to start thinking about how they will, after Addis Ababa meeting, president of this will call president of that. Now, how do you pull that thing off? And how do you control these 200 million people? They are not even complaining. How did you manage to have all these houses abroad? How did you manage to have all this wealth? Please teach me. Maybe it will help. These are the things that you will be hearing them discussing. Birds of the same feather. Then ordinary people will be on the receiving end of what they are doing. Even if those people from other country, from Nigeria, is committing crime in South Africa, you will supposed to have a leader of South Africa calling the leaders of that country in order so that he will govern and give their people economic opportunity so that they will stop coming to spoil your country. If it is from other countries around within Malawi, Zimbabwe, Lesotho, Kenya, Senegal, you call their leaders to account. You make sure that their leaders are called to account so that they will not use their own to destroy yours. It is very, very important. If you are able